Whether you remember your days in school or recently checked your child's report card, many of us are familiar with the A to F grading system.
Typically, it's where a score of 90% and above is an A and 80% and above is a B, and so on.
Some schools are now ditching that traditional system in an effort to help struggling students.
Experts say changes include evaluating students on improvement over time instead of assignment scores, and eliminating soft skills like attendance and handing in assignments on time.
A district in Missouri got a lot of attention when it announced its new grading system for the 2024-25 school year.
Reporter Sharon Chen shares the reaction from parents and teachers and how the district responded.
In August of 2024, the Kansas City Public School District launched its no-zero grading system. So that meant that the minimum grade given on any assignment would be 40%, even if the student didn't do the work.
So I asked a group of KCPS teachers and a parent what they thought of the policy. Teacher Meredith Shepard was the lone voice of support. She said one bad grade shouldn't affect the entire semester.
If you give a student a 40 and then they learn that skill later in the semester, those 80s and 90s that they're getting on their assignments will average out a little easier, and it will make a more equitable grade.
Sandra Days, the parent in the group, said a zero grading policy would give students a false sense of reality.
There's no way that I could come to work each day and do 50% of my job and stay employed. Instead of doing this zero grading policy, I would wish our district and districts that are doing this will find out what is the root problem.
Initially, the district declined to speak on camera for this story, but a few days after our reporting, district leaders said that they heard teachers and parents loud and clear, and they agreed to sit down for an interview about an updated policy rollout and why they made the change.
The real premise around setting a minimum floor is really to think of it as the new zero.
Deputy Superintendent Dr. Darrell Davis and Chief Academic Officer Dr. LaTanya Franklin sat down with us to lay out the district's updated policy, which now says missing schoolwork gets a zero.
We're really trying to change that narrative that we're giving students something for nothing.
So essentially, if a student made 40% all year long, it's going to average out to 40%. It's still an F. So students really weren't getting credit for something they hadn't done.
The F stands for fail in the current system. The first grading scale was established in the 1800s at Yale University. By the 1940s, the A through F grading system emerged as the dominant grade scheme and what we have today. But Davis and Franklin point out it's far from perfect.
We've always known that this 100-point scale is inequitable, it's not fair.
We're looking at all students. That's really at the heart of equity, and sometimes we miss those students who need more support.
What about the people out there that are saying this is another example of the participation trophy?
Well, I think we have to go back to a 40% is a 40%. So at the end of the day, if a student does absolutely no work, let's say I don't do anything, that's still not a passing grade.
That if students are meeting the standard, they have the requisite knowledge, they are able to demonstrate what they know within the classroom setting, that really should be the truest indication of the education of that student.
District leaders tell me that the no zero for no work policy got so much pushback that they're unlikely to re-implement it. But the superintendent does note that the grading policy is a living document, so it can be further amended. Reporting in Kansas City, I'm Sharon Chen.